This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks. With an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to Eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.
Well, it would help if I added myself to the screen. Yes, everybody, I have a new computer screen that I've been playing around with. It's taking me just a minute to get used to it here. And I've got to add something else now to the background as I'm just learning this as we speak. It's kind of on-the-job training. Okay, very good. There we go. Late night. Hello. So, thanks for coming on in, everybody. This, of course, is the Late Show. Into the Bizarre with Monica Rollins tonight, joining me. We have a great show, as always, for you guys. Thanks for coming on in. If you are new here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. Monica Rollins, Our Paranormal World on YouTube. Texas from Porsche to Blondie and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. Donnie Chose Says Stuff. Paranormal Paul. Who else? Truth or Tinfoil? Probably forgetting somebody. I think that covers everybody. If I missed them, well, you know who they are. Turn on the alert bells. Briefly, before I get started, I always have to thank the folks who bought my books found on Amazon. Let me find that. I'm getting used to this. Bigfoot Mission represents True Cryptid Encounters, Book 1, Book 2, found on Amazon. Simply type Bigfoot Michigan Rob in your Amazon browser. Leave a review for those of you that bought it. I do appreciate that. It does help promote book sales. Don't forget the super chat's open. Great way to support what we all do around here. Also, you, mateys, you can become a BMR pirate. That's right. Join today, join the many, join the few, depending on your point of view. You get a picture of good old BMR with a bandana next to your name in the chat room. We're found on all podcasts, yada, yada. That's where we're at, including the lovely Monica, who I am going to bring up now. Hey.
Hello.
What's going on, Monica?
You know, not a lot. Just trying to enjoy my Saturday and get my mic closer to me so you can hear me talk.
I can hear you. Yeah, I hear you. You sound
Okay.
pretty good. Sound good. Background always looking good, you know.
Thank you. I got my cool ghost painting that I picked up.
Oh, ghost painting. Yeah, well, I can see the little, yeah.
Well, let's see if I can. I think it's adorable.
Hey, you know what? Yeah, that is kind of cute. You know, it kind of reminds me of the first ghost. You know, when I tried to describe people, the very first ghost I saw, I will tell you this, Monica. I always say it's like the white sheet looking ghost, very similar to that.
Really?
You know?
Okay.
Yeah. So don't worry, I'm not freaked out. I mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I like that. I'm not scared of ghosts anymore today. So, which is good.
That's good. You shouldn't be. Shouldn't be.
No, you really shouldn't be, because it's not really a scary thing. It's mostly spirits. I guess, I gather. I don't know.
It's all energy, right?
It's all energy. It's all energy. Well, I'm glad you got a little energy going on tonight. I'm glad that you're enjoying your Saturday. My Saturday, I tell you, Monica, it was very frantic.
Yeah.
Very frantic, yes. Actually, it all.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
Well, thanks for asking. It actually all started late Friday. Now, I will not to bore everybody. I've been having some computer issues. My computer's like 6 months old, but I keep having to turn on the power button to fire up the computer. And then I was talking to our tech wizard, Randy, and we went online. He got on my computer and was looking around, made some adjustments, and it worked for a little while, but then the computer started bogging down. I could never get the screen. What I'd have to do is turn on and off my screen, and that would work for a while. But yesterday when I got home from the airport, nothing worked at all. And I was livid. I'm like, my gosh, it's not like I can wait a week to get in. I'm just glad it wasn't the computer, and I'll get into that a little later. Because last night, Friday, it was interesting because my brother came home from Vegas. He always goes for about 22, 23 days. And so last night, I moseyed down to the airport to pick up my brother and his wife, my sister. I call her sister, my sister-in-law, this and that. So I get here, I'm waiting outside at arrivals, and I get a text. I pull up. I'm sitting about 5-6 minutes. I get a text from my brother. Hey, bro, plane delay. I'll probably be there in about an hour, 20 minutes. Yeah, so I'm not going to turn around and drive 20 minutes home just to really turn around. So I'm very familiar with the airport. So I wheeled the truck around to a parking garage where I'm familiar with, and I went inside the airport into the airport bar.
Okay.
So I said, well, I got now there's maybe 45 minutes left, and I just happened to go in the bar, and I had my phone on me, and I go on my phone, I turn on the Blondes and the Booze, who had a great show last night. Everybody go check that out. And you were on it, and all the girls, and it was a great show. So I'm sitting there watching it, and I had a drink or two, and they had nothing on the TV, which was unusual. And I said, hey, to the bartender, I say, hey, you got YouTube on this? He goes, yeah. I say, hey, man, go on to this station and just throw this on so I don't have to, I'm on my phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So it turns on the Blondes and the Booze in the airport. And there's only about 5 or 6 people really in this part of the airport bar I was at, gathering around, talking. I said, hey, these are all my friends. I know all those people. Yeah. So I get to talking to this couple, and then another couple saunters over. So I start talking about what we all do, podcasters, this, that, and the other. And I started passing out. I have fresh new business cards, so I proudly presented them and gave them away. I say, yeah, go subscribe right now since we're here. So we're watching the Blondes, and then they say, well, Rob, what do you know about Bigfoot? So I started telling Bigfoot stories. It was pretty cool, and we sat around, and then it was getting close to get my brother, so I had to, shut that down and left the bar area. I went back, got my truck, wheeled it around, and picked it up, and I brought him home, and I took him home last night. The Blondes and Booze was ready over. So I go to my computer, Monica.
Right.
Because I want to go on and just do my last little bit of work that I want to do on it before bed or whatever. Nothing works. Nothing works. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding
That's the
me.
worst feeling.
Oh, and I got a day scheduled Saturday morning today that I had to do. And I'm like, I can't believe this. I said, and I remember what Randy told me, maybe it was just the monitor, right? Because my computer, I could tell with all the lights were lit up, but I just was not getting nothing on my screen.
Sure.
So it put a big wrench in my day because today was so busy. I was busy. I got up at 8 in the morning, and I was busy from 8 in the morning up until showtime today, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I could not cancel, and yes, for all the guys out there, I'm not going to lose my man card, but I'm pretty transparent. I had my 10 a.m. pedicure scheduled.
Good.
So I got that done first.
That's an attractive thing. A man that takes care of his cuticles.
Well, thank you. Yes. And it's my lovely Mia, who's been doing it for 2 years. She's a beautiful little Asian woman. And I cannot miss it because she does the best job, right? So I go in there, but I'm really still not concentrating because I'm very mad that I must figure out the computer. And my Best Buy in the neighborhood moved to way across town. So I don't
Okay.
even know where to go, right? So I'm on my phone where she's doing her thing, and I found Target. Target has computer monitors. I'm like, cool, it's only 10 minutes from here.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there getting my thing done, and in in the seat next to me, this girl comes in, and her name is Amber. And I immediately recognize her because she used to work for me at the bar. Rob, what are you doing here? Good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long. So she and I were chit-chatting. And then I had mentioned the computer fiasco. She goes, yeah, well, I don't know about Target. I said, well, yeah, I'm looking online here. They've got them. She goes, well, then she told me about, of course, the legendary Walmart. I'm like, well, man, I don't go to Walmart before at this time. It's just a zoo over there.
Yeah.
So now here's the thing, Monica. It's in the morning, and it doesn't matter if I'm 28 or 58. When I drink coffee, I got to go, relieve myself. I got to take a pee.
You and my husband.
Gosh. And so I was she gets done doing her work on me, and we go, and I pay her this, that, and I say, thank you. I'm going to go use the restroom really quick because I had to go. She goes, oh, I'm sorry. It's out of order.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm busting here. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was sitting in this chair for like an hour, however long it was. So I ran all the way home because I'm not going, I get home, do my thing. So now I'm like already mad. I was glad I had the pedicure and all that done right, And I'm like, okay, now I'm getting anxious about this computer. The computer is on my mind. So I go to Target. It's a big Target. I get back to the electronics. I'm looking around. There's no one around to help. I can't find a monitor. Guy comes up. He says, dude, we haven't sold monitors here in 2 years.
Great.
So now I got to go to where?
Wally World.
Wally World. Get to Wally World. Found one. Thank the Lord. Well, first of all, I can't thank the Lord because I don't know if this is even going to solve my problem. Got it, bought it, raced back home. It took me a little while to set up because the funniest thing is it was easy to set it up to the computer, but this stand they gave you was like, should be easy, but it took me like 20 minutes to figure it out. It was just strange.
Okay.
And that ticked me off. So that's up, set it up, fire up the computer. Thank you, Sean Hertel.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Sean. So I fire up the computer. Monica, I hit the power button. I'm waiting a little bit. I'm like getting anxious.
You got to turn on the monitor too.
Yes, I didn't know how to do that. You read my mind. I'm like, and there's no power buttons in the front. So
you have to feel around.
I'm feeling around. There's like 5 buttons. I'm pressing buttons. They're not working. The last button I pressed, boom, fired it up.
Okay.
And so I was so happy that I only spent like $100 on the monitor, but it saved me. You know how much they cost. We all know how much a computer costs, especially for what we do. I can't buy. It's got to be a good one, right?
I went out and bought a computer just to do this.
Yeah, no.
To do this.
Yes, that's why. Yeah, this is the one I just bought 6 months ago. Is just for this because of all the data, all the streaming live. You get it. So.
I get it.
So my day was good. Then I went over to my buddies about 4:00 in the afternoon. Went in his pool, went swimming, had a barbecue, and relaxed. Came home and put the show together. And yeah, here we are.
Yeah. Well, I did have a piece of electronics just die on me yesterday because I have a morning ritual, which I think a lot of people do, right? You get up, you do this, you do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have to have a cup of coffee. I'm not the person that drinks like copious amounts of coffee. I have
Yeah.
a cup of coffee in the morning, and that's like part of my thing.
Yeah.
So I've got the little cubes that you plug into the socket, and you can control whatever you plug into that through an app. So I've got everything set to turn on before I wake up. So like the coffee pot's ready to go. We've got a Keurig. So it's all warmed up, and I'm standing there for 5 minutes while it makes noises at me. And I go in there, and the cube is on, right? So there's power to the coffee maker, but the coffee maker's off, which I think is weird. Like, why is it off?
Right. Yeah.
So I turn it on. I sit there. I let it make its noise at me. And I get the cup ready. I put some sugar in. I do what I do. And I put the K cup in, and I, push the amount, and it whirs like it's getting ready to pour some coffee in my cup.
Yeah.
And it like spits some sludge into my cup that's
Oh.
mostly ground. And then it turns itself off. And I was like, what?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what's up here? So I open up the lid, right? Because it resets everything. I close it, and I put the things in again to make coffee, and I hit power. It didn't even make noise this time. It just turned itself off.
Oh, man.
So then I turn it on, and then it turns itself off. It's like, okay, so I was annoyed. I had to drive to Starbucks to go get my coffee.
Yeah. No, I know. Yes.
I got to have my coffee, at least one cup.
Yeah.
And I had doctor's appointments, and my morning yesterday was just insane. So I tell my husband, like, the Keurig died on me. It's a couple years old. It's not that old.
Yeah, but still, it's a nice one. They last for a while.
And we got like a pretty tricked out model. It makes foam. If you
really?
Like foam.
Does it have the espresso maker too?
It has an espresso option where you can do a shot.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I love that.
So yeah, it's nice, but it's not that old. And I'm thinking, I don't want to replace that.
No,
I just don't feel like it. So he gets up this morning before me, makes himself. It works for him. It worked for him yesterday morning. It worked for him this morning. So when I wake up on the weekends, I have a very sweet husband who makes me coffee.
Yeah.
And that's part of our weekend thing. He makes my coffee, and I like that very much.
Very nice.
So when I wake up, I'll text him, I'm up. He'll be like, okay, goes in there and makes my coffee and brings it to me. He's in there for an awfully long time. It wouldn't work for him to make me. It made him coffee, but it wouldn't make me coffee.
Oh, jeez, yeah. Now, is that the one shot fill up? You replaced the Yeah.
I was so annoyed because it made him coffee. He got coffee.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh, it's for Monica. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I'm like you in a sense that I drink a little bit more than you probably. I can literally I can drink like 4 or 5 cups.
Yeah.
And the other day to my coffee maker, I actually had to get a different coffee maker, but that's beside the point. But when I get up in the morning, I definitely need at least some coffee. So what I do is sometimes when I don't feel like making it right away, I'll just go up to I go to Tim Hortons.
Okay. We don't have those down here.
I tell you what's the best coffee. I like it better than Starbucks, and it's not that it's as expensive as Starbucks is.
But
so I go to Tim Hortons. I'll get an extra large coffee with 3 cream and 2 shots of espresso. Yeah, it's good. The only thing is when I get home, I have to put in the microwave because the espresso cools it down big time with the foam.
Oh, you put the foam, yeah.
Yeah, so then it's not as hot. So but it's fabulous. It perks me up the rest of the day.
Especially in the summertime. I've been getting I get it year round, the brown sugar shaken espresso at Starbucks. It's good.
Yeah.
I get it. It's iced. It's good.
Yeah, I like iced coffee too. I'll buy some Starbucks iced coffee at the store and put it in the house. And I don't drink it that often, but it's good in the summertime.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make my own, like when my Keurig's working.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So
I like
the Keurig. I guess I'm going to be replacing that.
Yeah, well, and it's a nice machine. And my brother's got the same a Keurig, probably similar to yours, and it has all the It's cool though because you can get 100 of those packs for $20 at by my house at Costco. It'll last like 3 months. I mean, 100 of them for 20
We get
bucks.
this giant box full of them. But
Yeah, so.
I think I'm going to switch to a regular coffee pot because I'll be very honest, I'm not a fan of Keurig. When we bought that's my husband's deal. He likes the Keurigs. I don't like the idea of water in a containment system that I cannot clean out.
Oh,
I have to run vinegar through it every so often to clean it, but it's not like a traditional coffee maker where you can like dump all the water out and
I kind of
clean
I
it.
did not know. I didn't really investigate that. I need to probably ask my brother, but yeah, I kind of no, I don't like that idea. Now you brought it up.
I don't either. So I think if my husband wants to keep the Keurig, apparently it likes to work for him, so that's fine. But I'm going to get myself an old-fashioned just drip.
Hey, listen, I got me the old Mr. Coffee because I went through even the expensive ones just to put water in the top because I don't make the Keurig's cool and all, but I just like my coffee. So I just get the Mr. Coffee machine. It's whatever it is, $50. And it lasts. Unfortunately, they only last like 2 years because they just burn out. But that's been my luck anyway.
Right.
So I want to thank everybody for coming on in. I see Jojo. Hey, Randy. Yeah, Randy, I got the new screen up. Thanks for the help, my brother. Sean, Scott, Werewolf, Jojo, Freaky, Law, Morgan, Mr. G Rides, Scotty, Joanne. Hi, Joanne. Scrolling down our paranormal world, of course. Monica's here, of course.
I am.
A lot of this. Free your mind. Hi, Free. How are you? Blah blah blah. A lot of the same people talking. So there's 50 in chat, but only a handful you're doing any talking. So if I miss y'all, hello Andres Carazolas. I can't read. Sorry. Keith, of course, from Michigan in here. So yeah, a lot of the usual suspects and others. If you're new, please subscribe to BMR and of course Monica, our paranormal world. That'd be great. So thanks everybody for coming in tonight, late night. So yeah, Monica, I got some bizarre news. Oh, by the way, before we start, everybody, me and Monica are going to be. I was going to think about giving a teaser tonight, Monica, but I was so busy I didn't come up with the teaser.
Sure.
Me and Monica in July, everybody, we're going to be doing a show. Don't know when. Turn on your alert bells. We're going to be doing a witch show.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a little. Maybe a lot of the same things you heard. We're going to spice it up a little bit. It's not just going to be Salem. It's going to be a lot of different weird things. And Monica has her project to work on a little bit, So, but
It'll be interesting.
That'll be a lot of fun, I think. I like witchcraft. We're not doing that tonight. I got the bizarre news. So this is a heads up for you guys. I did not do a werewolf series show yesterday because they'll come out when they come out because it takes a long time to put them together. Probably every other Friday, you guys. I'm just not doing a show to do a show. So that will be Fridays at 6. So with that being said, we're going to I got some pretty interesting bizarre news tonight, Monica. And we're gonna get it started here in a minute, as you know what I'm doing right now, Monica.
I do know what you're doing.
You know what I'm doing. All right, here it is. Very cool, very cool. And this is the first item for bizarre news. And I've got a pretty here's a picture of it out. You guys this is a first picture, bizarre news.
It's cozy.
Very splendid picture, yes. Indeed. Yeah, You can only wonder what this is all about. News 1, bizarre news. Something pulsing deep beneath Africa could tear the continent apart.
Ooh, that's pretty massive.
Pretty massive, yes, indeed. June 26th, this was published by TK Randall. Something is stirring in the depths. Scientists have unexpectedly discovered mysterious rhythmic surges beneath the ground. The perplexing phenomena, which was detected in the Afar region of Ethiopia, consists of rhythmic pulses of molten mantle rock that surge upward like a heartbeat deep underground. This has pushed up the region from underneath, expanding the crust in the process. Eventually, it'll rip the continent itself apart and form a new ocean.
Well,
Yeah, indeed. We found that the mantle beneath Afar is not uniform or stationary. It pulses, again, like a heartbeat. And
none
these
of them are stationary.
yes, indeed. Well, I don't know, the bizarre news. And these pulses carry distinct chemical signatures, a study that was led by Emma Watson. These ascending pulses of partially molten mantle are channeled by the rifting plates above. That's important for how we think about the interaction between Earth's interior and its surface. Expected devastation to the planet, 2039. Not too far off.
Okay, so hold on. They think that it's going to rip the continent apart in 2039.
Yeah, it's expected by this Emma Watson. Yes, that's what she.
Emma Watson, not the actress.
Good one. Good one. No, it's not. I thought that too when I saw Emma. Oh, so wow, Emma Watson. Yes, she's an actress. 239. I don't buy, but I got to tell you. I mean, I guess that's kind of something that could happen, right? I mean,
none of the continents are right. None of the tectonic plates are static. They all move. That's where we get earthquakes from. That's what volcanoes are about.
Right.
But like, what calculations brought you to a 14-year timeline for complete devastation of the African continent and something to rip a continent apart to form a new ocean in that short of a time frame? Yes, would have cataclysmic repercussions around the globe.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of reminds me of that movie we just talked about the other day with Dennis
The Day After
Quaid.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah, or it's more like 2012, right? Because that's where like all the continents shifted and
yeah,
it caused massive which it would cause a huge tsunami, like mega tsunamis, and
now that I can see that happening for this
everything like within a pretty sizable radius if it's a strong enough movement to shear a continent.
Oh, for sure. And I can see with the tsunamis, right? I mean, they said that if Lake Superior, here where I live, in Michigan, I don't live by Lake Superior, but if a tsunami were to happen, an earthquake developed underneath Superior, it would probably, it would cripple definitely the UP and part of the northern Michigan, but that would be the extent, not like in that movie. I mean, it wouldn't be knocking down tall buildings, but there's enough water in Lake Superior alone, just Lake Superior, that could cover up to 3 inches of standing water from my state all the way through the Ohio Valley. Think about that. That's a lot of water.
Yeah. I mean, consider the size of Africa, right?
Oh yeah.
Huge. I don't think
United States in it.
Huge.
Yeah.
And for something to cleave it, like that is it's astronaut the amount of energy that would be released in that. I mean, tsunamis aside, just the energy. Like everybody would die for just the energy displacement alone, right?
Yeah, and to formulate a new ocean all in this time period.
Yeah.
I mean, what with this ocean? I mean, what happens to the Atlantic and the Pacific and everything? They just don't go away.
They lower in levels because there's a new gap, right? So all of the water would flow.
Will pour into there.
Yeah.
It'd pour in between probably.
I mean, they're all connected. They're
Yeah.
all connected, right?
Yeah.
So I think the immediate area would be like obviously the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic would be what would, depending on where the rift would come in. But holy cow, no way. I mean, you consider like the continents and how they formed in the millions of years it took, to go from Pangea to what we have right now. Like, just rip off in 14 years. It's like, new continent. I really
boom, just like that overnight. I think it's always interesting, like you said about Pangea, how all the continents are all one big landmass. I always found that to be cool.
I think that's cool. You know what is so fascinating to me is the Appalachian Range, how old it is. Like, it is old. Like, that land has been above water for a very, very long time.
You said the water, you said?
The Appalachian Range.
Yeah.
The land itself has not been submerged. I mean, it has been there for a long time.
Yeah.
It's ancient.
Well, actually, too, with the Appalachians, the Appalachian Trail goes on for miles. That's not even that's a low. Yeah, right. I find it interesting that there's a lot of strangeness too that goes on in the Appalachians. I mean, from anything from UFOs to cryptids and everything else in between.
Yeah, I mean, it's ancient land. I mean, consider what was inhabiting that before, we were walking around. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. I know that in 39, that said that thing I read.
Yeah.
Not happening in my mind. But
I mean, something could happen, but not that.
Something's happening. Just always, I find those interesting. Maybe whether I'm certainly, again, when I do these stories, I don't do a deep dive and look for I don't do that research. It's fun for the show.
Well, they're fun. They're fun things.
And but it always brings me back to like the Mesozoic era and all those eras with how many times the Earth has re-evolved itself, how many times the Earth has blown up or went into the ice age or the, getting hit by the meteorites or asteroids. And not a meteorite, because this is a very interesting thing I'm going to bring up in a minute. One day it's going to happen, Monica. Probably not our lifetime. Hell, it could be another billion years out. Something probably. It's just time. It's just like, I view it as it's a cycle. The business cycle.
Yeah.
Everyone bitches about, the economy, this and that. It don't matter who's running the country, who is not even the president, someone else. Anyway, my belief. It's always up and down. You can plot it out on the graph. It's always the same, regardless, right? And if you take that same plot and put it for the Earth, and of course, it's billions and millions of years apart, but eventually that cycle is going to hit, and where the planet starts all over. That's going to happen.
No, sure. It will. I mean, whether we're responsible for it or it's just an act of nature. Yeah. It's going to happen.
I did want to ask you this, and I forgot where this happened. I could not believe when I read this, and I seen this. It was not too long ago. It wasn't an asteroid, but it was if I read correctly, it was extremely heavy. It was a 1-ton meteorite that plummeted into the ocean.
Okay.
And there was nothing happened. Nothing was destroyed. No devastation. But I thought that the article was kind of odd because I always thought that if something 1 ton, that's boom, start the planet over with. Is there a difference between a meteorite and an asteroid?
Oh yeah, size. But here's the thing.
This is a 1 ton.
Okay, for an extinction level, right? Strike, it needs to be a mile wide or larger, right? And for extinction level, like we're talking dinosaur extinction, like Yucatan stuff. Anything below that, I mean, close to it would be devastating, and it's going to definitely devastate whatever area it hits. I mean, consider the meteorite that struck over, I want to say it was Russia like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It like knocked down walls, it blew out windows, and that didn't even strike. It blew up in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that big. So consider something, the size of a football field exploding over a major metropolitan area. It's going to devastate that area. I mean, Tunguska, right? It exploded in the atmosphere, they think, and it leveled trees for, I can't remember if it's hundreds of miles. It was a pretty significant amount of hectares that were just flattened. And that was, they think, a meteorite that exploded in the atmosphere. So consider one that doesn't explode from the velocity and the heat and everything. It actually reaches the ground, makes an impact crater. And if it's exploding in the air, that's devastating. But imagine it hits the ground and displaces all of that.
Right. Okay.
Like that's going to be like crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry, I get off on a nerdy thing there. Sorry.
No, that's nerdy is really what it's all about. I mean, we're all technically nerds. But that was interesting. So thank you for that. And we will move on to this other piece of bizarre news. And this is up our alley, Monica.
Oh, trolls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cave troll. All right.
There it is. So let's find out what's bizarre about this one. Mystery troll captured on camera. Now, of course, there's a picture, but I'm not putting it on here. I don't know if I can do it, so it is what it is. The story was submitted to this website that I looked on, Mysterious World, by Martha from Sweden. That's all it says. As I was reading on Sunday, the 11th of June, my husband and I were out walking for a couple of hours in the beautiful sunshine. It felt like the first real spring day of the summer, or spring day. What I say was June 7th. Okay, June 11th of the summer, I should say, here in Marstad, Sweden, a suburb just north of Stockholm. The area that we live in is full of ancient structures, grave mounds from the Iron and Bronze Age, old Viking forts, rune stones, and many other things. This day, we decided to walk to what's left of the ancient fort, up on a hill deep in the forest behind Stenage Castle. My husband is a photographer, and there's always time for a portrait, which I'm quite spoiled with after 14 years together. After checking out an abandoned old house near the road, he asked me to pose in the middle of the road for a shot, which I did. Later, after uploading it on Twitter, a follower asked me what was standing by the side of the road not far from me. And to my surprise, I found, again, in my opinion, a troll-like creature merged with nature, almost transparent. It looks like it's studying my husband, looking directly into the camera, slightly turned to my direction. Okay. Yeah, I'm aware of pareidolia, and that might be it, but it's very similar to the trolls of artist John Bauer, who also had a Bigfoot experience. Maybe my eyes just want to see what they want to see, but even in his splendor, this case of pareidolia I have to completely get rid of, because this was extremely creepy and organic. No matter what it is, I find it to be quite magical. There's something with nature's spirits to me. At least I want to believe that.
Okay.
I thought that was interesting because, we talk about trolls and norms quite a bit on the shows. Whoever does a show, it's always a topic. And I believe in the elementals, and I believe that a lot of these, even the fair involved in some help people. I did a story on elementals helping a guy home, and I got to tell you, that to me is believable. It could have been pareidolia. They didn't show the photograph, which would have been cool to see, but hey, you never know.
I mean, I need to see the photo. Like, I was trying to look for it while you were talking, see if I could find the article, just so I could see it. But
No,
I
no,
mean,
yeah.
I believe that it's possible. Sure, why not? Why not? I mean, I believe in Fae. I believe in all these other
Yeah,
things.
no,
If
you
somebody
do.
says that they saw something, I'm not going to say they didn't.
I mean, the story was an average story, but I like doing those stories because I've done a couple on those the gnomes we just talked about the other day, right? I mean,
Right.
about coming alive, allegedly coming alive in this guy's backyard, how they were all mixed around and they got the ones they saw got bigger, which was a story, then another story about they came from the cemetery and
Sure.
all the little footprints. But I think that and like they say, like you were telling me, because I mentioned to you, I think I was going to buy a bunch of garden trolls, put in my yard. And you had said to me, and I remember this, yeah, maybe not the best idea because you had mentioned that it invites them in. And I know
Yeah.
you believe in the gnomes. And I just wonder about that, how a painted statue, invites these things in. So we did
Well,
you know what I mean? It's
I
crazy.
think it's just more out of curiosity. It's an effigy, right? You're not necessarily
Yeah.
like, "Yo, come on in."
Come on
But
in.
I think that they see something that looks similar to them and their kin, and they're like, "What is up over here?" And who knows what they think. They could be thinking, "Well, he clearly wants us here because he's got these statues of us here.
Yeah.
Maybe he worships us. Maybe he would like us to be around because we're alive and these are statues," that kind of a
Yeah.
thing.
So you're talking about a gnome. Obviously, well, they're alive in whatever capacity, right? So what do you is the gnome a physical creature?
Yeah. Yeah.
Flesh and blood
I
type
think that
thing?
that's what I saw when I saw that little dude walking,
Yeah.
right, on the side of the forest line. So, yeah, I think they're flesh and blood. I mean, just as much a flesh and blood as any of the Fae would be, because that's what they are.
Okay.
They have the ability, I think,
Right.
to be able to bounce back and forth between their realm or dimension or whatever you want to call it, right? I think they, just like the other Fae, they have the ability to pop between the worlds, let's say, between ours and theirs. But I think they're physical. But I think that, a lot of their abilities make them seem kind of like um ethereal too. Maybe they can get behind locked doors. I don't know how they can do it, but they seem to be able to do it. They can get into the wood of trees somehow. Yeah, I don't know, but not having originated from our plane of existence, they're originating from somewhere else where their physics are different. They're made different. So when they interact with our reality, they have abilities that we don't.
So a known person could get into your house with no problem.
Yeah. I think any of them could, if they're invited, if they, I mean, I think that they could get in even if they weren't invited. They're curious, they're going to walk in. But I'm not going out of my way to invite them in or make it enticing or make it seem like I want them there.
Do you think that people should be scared of them?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because I don't think that they're looking to cohabitate. I don't think they're looking to cohabitate with humans. I think if anything's popping around your place, it's curious. If you're in an urban setting. Now, if you're, living in the countryside of like old world Sweden or even rural America, you're living on a big farm, they might feel more comfortable there because they're used to that kind of setting, right? And, in the old stories, they're helpful in that way. But that's more of the Swedish and Norwegian, like Scandinavian settings. In America, we've got the little people and the puckwudgies, and I think those are types of gnomes or fae they're similar to it, and they're not particularly helpful or nice.
No. Well, actually, if you come across a puck wedgie, that's they from what I understand, what I've been told is absolutely not a fan of man. They go out
No,
of their way to hurt you.
Yeah.
And
Like
some instances
none of the
kill your
traditional
kids.
stories are particularly nice about them. But, you know, just like with anything, immigrants that came over from Sweden and Norway and, you know, anywhere over there in the Scandinavian countries could have completely brought these things with them. They could have hitched a ride, you know, with the families coming over, and that they're introduced in America as well. I mean, plus, I mean, I don't know how these things work. They're like, I mean, these,
No,
everything is, of course, speculation. They could just, you know, hear somebody in a farm in Norway talking about their cousin in Michigan and how cool it was visiting them. And they could be like, well, I want to go visit Michigan. That sounds pretty cool. And they figure out how to get over there. Like, I don't know how it works. Maybe they pop into Michigan. I don't know.
yeah, no, right. I mean, it's funny that you say that how they would migrate around. You know, I remember that I was told a story about this guy that lived in it wasn't in Michigan, it was I think somewhere in Ohio, and they had an RV, him and a wife, and they always went to their favorite park. But then they noticed that a lot of the campers that went to this RV park, they were not. It was just there. It was not as filled up as typical as usual, and this went on for every couple of years. It would diminish. It was diminish and diminish, and people were complaining about something going underneath their chassis of the RVs and it's eating away the wires and just causing all this nuisance, but no one associated with
Sounds like
anything.
rats.
That's actually, as they thought, it was just a natural creature, a rat, right?
Yeah.
And so so there was less visitors to this particular RV camp for a while, and then so I guess one night there's this family. There's a bunch 4 or 5 RV people parked out in this part of Ohio. And sure enough, they thought that they're looking out, and it was late at night, dusky night, and they seen these, according to them, little people, not like the little people like we all know about, but these little people walking around. But they thought that they were porcupines that were
Ew.
on their back hind legs, kind of walking because they were straight upright.
Yeah, because porcupine do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, and then they would drop to all fours and scatter all around the RV trailer area, around all their RV vehicles. And then they got a close look. One stood up and it almost had like a weird human face, but it had those quills. And some of them were taking the quills and rubbing them into the side of the RV tires on the vehicles and popping the tires.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That, I mean, they sound like puckwudgies
Yeah, to me,
from
I
the
think
description.
they said perhaps a puck wedgie, and they actually got up inside the bottom of the RVs and started just
Oh,
destroying
I mean,
everything.
what you would consider a gremlin back in the day, right?
Yeah,
Gremlin, like, but yeah, it sounds like a puckwudgie, but I mean, who knows? It could be some fae nobody's ever heard of. But I mean, I'd go with the good old puckwudgie because that's the area, right? Ohio. That's kind of the general
I
vicinity of
kind of
where you
get.
hear a lot of those. But I mean, to be honest, like Native American stories across the country have little people that just have different names. Like, and I haven't heard one yet where they were like particularly friendly.
Well,
You
hey,
know,
not at all. I mean, talking about the little people, I did this story a long time ago. I'm not going to rehash that whole story. I think you remember this one, and I think it was the foothills of the mountains. I think it was Georgia. It might have been the Appalachians, right? Where and this story took place back, maybe 50 years ago or whatever, about the encampment of these folks that coming down from the hills.
oh yeah.
An old woman comes down, an old woman, creepy woman's coming from the hills and goes into their campsite, and very creepy. And she came up to one of the young ladies' trailers with her hands extended out like she was hungry for food. And so there's this very creepy woman and this young lady, part of the tribe, or maybe it might have been a First Nations tribe, I'm not sure, or whatever it was. offered her food, and this woman grabbed it with these weird big hands, grabbed it out, and then she put it over his shoulder. On the back of her shoulder was a little baby with had quills growing out of his spine, and it was a baby.
Okay.
You know,
I remember. I don't know if I remember that one as well
well,
as
but what happened was, this part of you might have that was part of the story. She went back in the hills, but then later, all these little people came from the hills, came down, invaded their encampment again, or their village, I should say, is a better word. And they had little bows and arrows, and they were firing bows and arrows at all the people, all the settlers, and they were looking and snatching up their kids.
I remember that. I do.
And they got
remember
away with 2 children, and then they escaped with 2 of the kids. When they reconvened, they noticed that and there was mega little people coming down.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
not like 10; it was like a whole boatload of them, and they
I
were
remember that.
running
I thought
around.
that was up in like Michigan.
Yeah. Well, I remember it came from a mountain, and our mountains ain't really mountains, but they're in the Upper Peninsula.
I thought they were hills, but okay.
Hills, but yeah, it could have been. I'd have to revisit that. It was a long time ago. I have so many, right? So yeah, it could have been. And so what happened was, though, then if you recall, when all these little people who were just all over the place, and they weren't trying to hurt people, they were looking for children. And so they didn't know that at the time, though.
I don't think
And so when all these little people, they finally left, and so the village town folk got together and looked around, assessing whatever damage was found, and there was 2 kids under the age of 1 that were missing from the families. 2 of them.
creepy. Yeah, no, that's creepy.
And so the village was going to put together this posse to go out and get the kids. Now, going back to that old woman that you don't quite remember came from the hills,
Mhm.
she reappears again, and everyone's scared of her. They want nothing to do with her, and she tells everybody, "Do not come and get the 2 missing. They are ours. Their blood is now ours to reinvigorate, whatever they needed. They needed the children's blood."
Oh God.
So, and so
That could have so many meanings.
that's crazy. And let me tell you something. And then so she disappears, and then the crazy thing, Monica, they decide before they go look for the kids, they're gonna have a town hall meeting. What to do? And the older elders of the village voted against getting the kids because they didn't want any curse or hoax or hex placed on the entire encampment or the entire village. Which, of course, they all agreed.
The those kids were like,
Well, the parents like, F you, and they were off. They looked for their kids.
Right.
They went. I mean, but the village kind of a majority ruled. They said, no, we agree. Let's just. I'm sorry, Maggie and Tommy and Janet and Bobby. We're sacrificing the kids for the good of the village. Well, that family says, well, boom.
Right.
We're getting our kids, which you and I would do, or anybody in the chat room would do, right? And the sad thing is, though, so the parents, they got some other friends with them, and they went looking for their kids, Monica, but the kids were never found.
I'm sure they weren't.
No.
Yeah.
And then, so town was mourning, the village is mourning. And then the creepy lady, pays 1/3 visit, says that the ritual has been fulfilled and they wouldn't return again for another century.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The ritual has been fulfilled.
Or whatever ritual, maybe that's the wrong word, but the prophecy, I don't know. You get the gist.
Right. I get where you're going.
Yeah.
It's
So
uh,
thank you, Scotty. I mean, some of these things, Monica, people, hey, I don't care. Okay, you're attacked by 50,000 tribal little people, creepy woman or not, thanks, Scott. You go get your kids for one, but I just don't understand. Some of this stuff, Monica, is just so. I think the stuff goes on, right? I mean, I don't know. We don't live in
sure.
the remote parts of town. We live in the suburbs.
Well, I mean, yeah, like really remote areas. I mean, some creepy stuff could go down, and the village does what they think is best for the village or town or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. But I mean, and this was not like it was yesterday. This was like 50 years.
Like I said, this was.
Yeah.
We weren't probably alive, you and I.
So, oh wow, it's older than 50 then.
Did I say 50? Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
But it
So
was.
I'd be curious where this was, and I'd be wanting to show up about 100 years from then, like potentially within our lifetime, depending on the date,
Mhm.
and see if old lady appears and the little people with their bows and arrows.
Yeah, and
Because I mean, that versus today's technology and weaponry. Because if you're living remote, you're not living unarmed if you're in America. So I'm curious how that would go down in a modern day setting.
oh well, yeah, it would they'd wipe out the.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you were the town surely understands that if these things happen again, they're coming for kids.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you kind of like Storm of the Century, you put all the kids in one place and then you fortify it and you defend it. If you're anticipating this, if it comes back every 100 years, like the old lady said.
Yeah. Well, that's what she said in the story that I thought was so fascinating. That's kind of like the nuts and bolts of it. And like, holy cow, no, what's this? There's someone pounding on my back door. Hang on just a second.
Somebody's pounding on your back door, dude? Do you have I gotta listen, make sure that nothing weird happens. Yeah, right. Werewolf were witnesses.
Jesus. Sorry about that. It was my neighbor across the street.
Pounding on your back door?
Yeah, back side door, because I can see.
Oh.
I can't see it. I can see on this little monitor. It's on the side of the house. It's this old guy. It looked like my neighbor asking if he's seen Phyllis.
Who the hell's Phyllis?
His wife.
Oh.
His wife.
Oh.
I go, why would she be here?
Yeah.
He seemed a little
disoriented.
Yeah. And
do you need to go help him?
No, he says, okay, Rob. He seemed okay. I said, well, geez, I'm kind of in the middle of something here. So he goes, no. I'm going to call my son. I said, yeah, please do that. So.
Okay, well, maybe check on him after the show then.
Yeah, I will. He's a pretty cool guy. He's not bad.
I don't want to wander in the streets looking for his wife that's maybe asleep in the house.
I tell you about, he's done this before.
Okay.
Unlike the other neighbor I had that would wander the streets. What did he have? He had dementia. And he went to my other neighbor's house 2 blocks up the road with a gun.
What?
And threatened to shoot him because he said he robbed him, and he never robbed the guy. It was an old guy who just passed away last summer. I guess the weirdos in my area. I do. Yeah.
I mean, you pound on my door in the middle of the night, I'm answering it holding.
Well, for me, it's midnight. It's 5 after 12, and oh, Monica.
I've had to do that before.
Huh? Yeah, right.
I did. I answered the door with the gun in my hand. Dude,
no, I believe you. I'm not laughing. I believe you. Hey, yeah. I tell you what, pounding on my door at 12 o'clock, usually if it's a friend, I'll call or text. No one knocks on my door at night for the hell of it.
Well, they
So,
tried to. Okay, so the way my house is situated, I've got a very large kind of semi wrapped around porch. So there's a door in my bedroom that leads onto the side porch,
mhm,
and then the big wide front porch because it's an old craftsman house, right?
yeah.
In the front. And somebody walked up in the dark and was trying to open the door to my bedroom from the porch, right? And I was on the phone with my friend and I flipped out
Yeah.
because this is before we had cameras.
Yeah.
And I'm fumbling to get the gun and run around to the front, and I could see him because my front room is all windows. So I could see him walk down the side porch and then around onto the large main porch. And I've got a storm door between me and the outside, right? I can open my front door and I still have a storm door there.
Okay.
That's all glass. And I had the gun in my right hand and I opened the door.
Yeah.
And he you saw the gun. He's like, whoa. I'm looking for Karen or whoever.
Okay,
This looks like maybe her house. And I'm like, this isn't Karen's house, my guy.
Yeah.
Like,
You know. My God. Hey, my guy, it ain't Kieran's place.
He's like, okay. And I was like, yeah, go on.
Hey, I got some doozies where I live. Now, this isn't by me. This was in Detroit. Oh, another old person story. He, unfortunately, there was this young lady, a girl, 20 years old. She was actually really being attacked by these stalkers. And it's in a bad part of town. It's crime ridden. I mean, it's not a place to live if you're like an old man.
Right.
And she's pounding on his door, screaming, please, somebody let me in, let me in. Well, this old man who probably doesn't have all his senses together, right? Goes to his door with a shotgun and boom, just shot through his door.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
the girl.
Oh my
It's
God.
the girl and blew her away and killed her.
Oh my goodness. Just from knocking on the door?
Yes. Well, this part of town, Monica, it's not pretty bad. You can get shot for pounding on the door in this part of Detroit. Okay.
I mean,
And
Detroit's pretty rough. I understand.
certain parts, I would not do that. I don't live in a rough part. I don't live in Detroit. I did for a couple of years growing up, but this is just pretty seedy. It's just if you're there, you're looking for trouble. So anyway, kills this young girl, and as it turned out, yes, some guys were stalking her, and I guess she was
Panicked.
Well,
sure.
she was, but prior she escaped because she actually had some physical thing happen to her. Escaped, yeah. I mean, very
Poor thing.
terrible story. The old man kills her, and the old man just, I guess, last week got sentenced to life in prison, and he's like 87 years old.
Oh man.
So kind of bittersweet story. Not bittersweet. It's nothing sweet about it.
I mean, there's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's sad. It's sad all the way around.
That's a totally young girl. She was 23 years old. Legitimately was accosted and ravaged, right? And old man, crappy part, was scared and boom, lives by himself. Which I don't know why you live by yourself, man. And boom,
well, shooting through your front door isn't a.
And here's the thing, man. He had bars on his front door. You can't break in.
Yeah, why are you shooting through it? Like,
why would you do that to your own property?
Oh my gosh, that poor girl. Oh, that poor
Oh,
girl.
terrible story. I hate to bring a different one.
I'm sure he doesn't feel great about what he did either.
I'm sure he doesn't. No, he was very sad, and then they were saying, well, despite it's so tough to determine what to do because of the young girl gone, but the old man, who really was remorseful, he was in tears when he got sentenced for the rest of his days. He's 86, but it is, it's a sad story all around. I don't want to bring anybody down on that one, but I just remembered that. And
I remember that. I think I remember that story in the news because it was national. It was national.
Yeah, well, yeah, big time was, yeah. So with that, we'll move on to the lighter topic of the bizarre news. What do we got here? Yeah, this is very light.
That looks, yeah, not creepy at all. I like the silver eyes there.
How about that? Yeah.
They look like they glow in the dark, like every child's eyes should.
Like every child should, Monica.
She looks like an updated Village of the Damned kid.
Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Village of the Damned. Mysterious music box. I don't know why that's titled like that, because when I read this, it really has nothing to do with a music box, although music is involved.
Okay.
So this is my first time ever. Okay, this person writes in Randall. Hey, Randall. This is June 9th of this year. This is my first time ever using a site like this. And this site, everybody, is Mysterious Wonders of the World, if you're wondering. This is my first time ever using this site. I can usually Google anything supernatural and get a good amount of answers from browsing, but I couldn't find anything.
Okay.
I was dropping my friend off at her house to pick up something, so I parked in the communal parking lot. Once I parked, I turned the engine off, but not the car, so I could listen to music. My friend was going to take about 10 minutes. After sitting for a minute, a song came on that I didn't care for. So I started flipping through the stations when I heard a little girl scream.
Oh.
Yeah, ooh. I lowered the sound of my radio and looked around to see if anything or who was there. And I seen a guy just messing around on his small little motorbike on the side of the road. No big deal. So I started flipping through the stations again, still keeping an eye out for anything weird. I started to hit a lot of static, and I hit a station, still staticky, but I thought I could hear a music being played by a music box. I remember thinking, what kind of radio plays music box recordings?
Right.
I went to the next station and I could still hear the same thing. And the strange thing is, every station that I turned to kept playing the same tunes over and over again. I went up and down my dial on my radio, and every single radio station played the same melodies which reminded me of this box. I could not turn it off. It was the same music. I turned my car off. I turned off my radio. And then outside of my car in the night's air, the same music echoed in the distance surrounding my car. Not from my radio. My car was off, but it was in the night's air. It was so clear as if it was right outside of my window. I looked around again, but I could not see anyone. No windows were open, no kids outside. The man on the motorbike was already gone. It was so weird. I sat in my car and listened. 6 more minutes. The music finally faded away. Then, already kind of freaked out, as I started to back up my car, the eerie image of a little girl came up to my driver's side window and said, "Please, mister, stop the music," and vanished as suddenly as she appeared.
Please, mister, stop the music.
Yeah. He's not playing music now at this point. The radio's off.
Yeah.
Now the car was on, the radio was on. He heard he switched all the stations, this, that, and the other, right? Dan shuts his car off, and all of a sudden, out of the air, the whispers of the night is the music.
Yeah.
And then, of course, earlier in the story, heard a girl scream. And at the end of this, she appears, Mr. Please shut off the music, and disappear. That's kind of weird. I see Mr. Weston. I'll pull him up. We got Tex backstage.
In the backstage.
Yeah. So hi, Texas. Tex. And
howdy.
Howdy. So Monica, yeah, what's textures get
What do I
late?
think
I
of
didn't
that?
hear most of that, but yeah, what do you think it did? I tell you, what's kind of creepy and eerie to me.
Well, it's hold on, I have to answer Joe. Yeah, Joe. I have no makeup on, which is why I look tired.
Oh.
So I think that when she's referring to stop the music, it's not the music like the immediate music, obviously, to me.
Yeah.
It's connected to her death, probably.
Yeah.
And she's, please stop the music is maybe figure out what happened to me. That's how I would take it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was kind of thinking something similar to that. Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it was a ghost of a girl. And I think that all was brought together and this guy happened to come across.
Yeah. I mean, definitely a ghost of a child for sure. In my opinion, sounds 100% like a ghost. And the music is clearly the scream, the music, and then her coming up. I think it's all tied together. The music was maybe the music box was playing when she was killed, and she's associating that music with her. She's a repeat apparition. Maybe she has to replay it every day at a certain time. And otherwise, she's free to roam. But that one little instant, she has to relive her death. And she's please stop the music, is please stop the cycle. And that's how I would take it.
I think that's pretty accurate. I was kind of thinking that because it seems like it's textbook ghost story.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you,
I caught
Joe.
the last few seconds of it, and that was pretty.
Yeah, no, thanks, Tex. Thanks for coming on in. Good to see you once again, my friend.
You too.
Thanks to Joe too, Pops. While I'm at that, I want to thank really quick. Thanks to Joe, Scott. Thanks, Scott. I didn't see that, Scott. Thanks to Joe, Scott, T-Bone, and Sean. I might have said thanks to Scott. I don't remember.
Scott's awesome. I love Scott.
I love Scott. Yeah, I love everybody. We have a lot of great people.
I do. I love our people in chat. They're so awesome.
Yeah,
all of our regulars are the best. JoJo, Scott, Jason Finch.
Everybody. Yvette.
Everybody. T-Bone. T-Bone's great.
T-Bone's the best. T-Bone.
Yeah.
T-Bone's moniker. I don't know if you can see that. That is a Bigfoot Mr. Rob t-shirt that's being
worn. That's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty sweet. Thanks, T-Bone. Yeah. So.
Who are our other ones? We've got Wedge. He's a pretty regular guy. Diane.
Diane Boss always. Yeah. Diane Boss comments on every single show, which I love. Thank you, Diane.
Yeah. And Werewolf, he's always
Werewolf,
on. He's awesome.
Freaky Geek, BJ.
Yeah, BJ. BJ.
Felicia, I haven't seen you in a while.
And Andres, yeah, he's on there a lot.
Andres, yeah. You guys are all awesome.
Hello. Yeah, and Joanne, she's sweet.
Stuff the contractor's checking out. Thanks for coming on in, Stuff. Val, of course, Val from Pennsylvania. Val says to me in comments, how come you always do Dogman stories from Pennsylvania? I say, well, because they're where you live.
That's where they're coming from.
Lisa Marie says, hey, I'm new here. Heard about your podcast from Brent and Josh.
Hey, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa.
Welcome aboard.
Hey, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the
Arr. And you can become a BMR parent. Maybe join
so I have to send you a picture, Rob, because I love going to the antique galleries around here, antique malls.
Okay.
And the Sherman Antique Mall on the square has 3 stories, right? And the top floor, they used to have like the Sherman Museum, and it talks about all the crap that went on here.
Yeah.
But they got rid of the museum last time I was there. I was like, where's the freaking history? So they replaced it with people selling their stuff. And one of them was this gigantic round pirate emblem.
No.
And I took a photo of it. I need to send it to you. If it wasn't $1,500, I would have bought it and shipped it to you.
Oh my Lord. Thank you. Yeah. Send me the picture.
Wow. I heard about that, Felicia. She says 2 girls here in my hometown were struck by lightning yesterday. They were sisters. one lived. They don't expect the other one to make it.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh, I'm sorry, Felicia.
Man, isn't that weird? All the lightning strikes that's been happening.
You know, you mentioned that. I've heard a couple strikes just recently. I glanced over them, but yeah, it's kind of weird.
They say Florida has the highest
Oh yeah.
lightning strikes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and Florida's again. Well, you can pick any of our states, you guys. The weather and things that are going on is just so strange lately.
This year's been so bizarre, and it's shocking to me that we are about to roll into July and we've only had like 100-degree day up where I live.
Well, you know, it's for you guys in Texas, you mean, or for you live specifically?
For where I mean, North Texas. Yeah. I mean, I'm blown away that I haven't just melted into a puddle yet.
Well, you know, what's weird here is, again, we always talk the weather a little bit, but which is, it's a good talking point because, and Monica, you know, because I was always bitching with you about, man, it's got to get warmer for my plants, right? And so it's always been like 58, 68 degrees, which is unseasonably cool, like in May.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys, we've been in the 90s for the last 3 days. And you know, every day in June, today's June 29th. Every day it's rained in June, every single day, or a new record. Every day.
We had a monsoon season this spring and early summer. Like the amount of rain is ridiculous. My ground was so saturated in my backyard that my shed, I mean, I'm shocked my shed didn't sink down into the ground. But I'd go out there. The mosquitoes, of course, are terrible because of it. But I'd go step on the ground 2 days after a rain, and it was so saturated, water would come up just from me stepping on the dirt.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Man, it is crazy. Yeah, it's so weird.
Well, look at the the new bridge they're putting across the Red River.
Yeah.
On 35.
Engineering geniuses.
Yeah. They made the bridge for some reason they're making a new bridge shorter than the old bridge.
Lower.
And
right?
Yeah. Shorter. Yeah.
Shorter or lower?
Lower.
Like lower from the river to the bottom, right, of the deck.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. So it was submerged for a while.
It was submerged, and there was so much debris packed on the bridge pylons that they had to halt construction, wait till the water went down and cleared out. And they're still continuing. I'm like, did this not tell you anything? You need to add a couple of feet, because I've seen water lapping underneath the bridge on the existing bridge a few times, when that river gets up. So, but I don't know what they're doing. So,
yeah, well, again, it's a high strangeness. And speaking of high strangeness, I got one last bizarre news. I haven't done this in a while because a lot of people like us, we're not the biggest UFO people, as we clearly stated a lot of times. But I did want to read this one really quick and just get your guys' thoughts. And thanks, Tex, for popping on in. And I'm going to go with here's a former NASA agent speaks out on the UFO phenomenon, June 17th of 2025. Are we being visited? Of course. Joseph Gunthies has heard his fair share of conspiracy theories and UFO reports over the last few decades. As both a current criminal defense attorney and a retired senior special agent with NASA's Office of Inspector General, it is perhaps no surprise that the approach Gunthies favors when it comes to stories of unidentified flying objects is science over speculation. Speaking to Fox News, the 69-year-old exhibited a more skeptical attitude toward the phenomenon, adding that those making out that their claims need to prove what they are saying. And, come on. We've all heard that old song and dance, and you're not going to do that. They've been claiming that there have been UFOs here since the 1940s and probably earlier. As you know, Area 51 supposedly houses UFOs. Has someone gone in it and looked at Area 51? Again, you guys,
A lot of people supposedly have been in it.
exactly. What I used to tell my students was the possibility of anything coming from another world to visit us was beyond unlikely. And that what I would tell the people that would call me up with these tales about being visited by aliens are psychiatrists. I don't know if that word's appropriate.
I don't think they meant to use that word.
I don't think they meant to use that word. Gun Thighs maintains that the vastest space makes a visit from aliens highly unlikely. There are up to 400 billion stars in the Milky Way, he said. There are maybe 1 to 2 trillion galaxies in the universe. But the reality is this: the closest solar system is Alpha Centauri. The bottom line is that it's 4.4 light years, 4.4. I guess they messed out. They left out. It says 4.4 light years away. I guess that's billion or 25
I think
trillion.
it's 4.4 light years.
Light for 4.4 light years away. Okay, yeah, or 25 trillion miles away. Okay. And if somebody started flying to Proxima and Centauri, or the other way around, it would take them over 70,000 years to get there. Nobody is visiting us from another world, which is most likely. And then he goes on to say that, yeah, blah, blah, blah. I need the proof, this, that, and the other. Again, I just thought that was interesting because I believe that there are other species and planets. But when reading over that, the guys seem kind of, what he said didn't make a lot of sense. People have been to Area 51. And just because a being is, 4.4 light years away does not mean they have
4.4 light years, or if you are able to travel at the speed of light.
Speed of light.
It would take 4.4 whatever years to reach us. But, Einstein theorized wormhole, right? Wormholes in space and time. So you could, if you knew how to manipulate that or enter those and travel using that, would cut the time significantly.
Yeah.
So,
I wanted to bring the. Go ahead, Tex. Sorry, go.
Well, no, I'm just saying. So with all of that in mind, that's not that far. That's
it's not
plausible.
that far. No, I agree. I don't think it's unlikely to. This guy's making out with all these big numbers, all this, that, and the other. It's not that far.
Yeah, I mean, do I want somebody like a civilization with the ability to travel light years or manipulate wormholes to jump around through space in a short amount of time and cut the distance? No, I don't necessarily want them visiting Earth because they are so far advanced beyond what we are capable of. Here comes Donnie to correct everybody.
Hi, that's literally what I came on to do, and then I'm going to leave real quick. I just had to mention one real quick thing. You guys were talking about light speed travel, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you and I were on Earth, and let's say I decide to get into a spaceship and go to a galaxy about, let's say, I don't know, 1 million light years away, right? So then it would take 1 million years traveling at the speed of light, right? From my point of view, travel to that other galaxy is instantaneous. So as soon as I go there, for me, I'm going to see like, okay, now I'm there. But then I look back and 1 million years has passed.
Yeah.
That's the idea of time dilation. From the point of view of the traveler, all light speed travel, no matter where you go to in the universe, is instantaneous. It's just that when you come back into regular speed,
time. Yeah.
and then you check back, that's how much time has passed. So the traveler's point of view, there's going to be no time passing.
Okay. That's cool. I mean, I knew that the traveler wouldn't experience time in the same that people on Earth would experience.
It would
right?
be, yeah.
So their time passage would be considerably shorter than the people on Earth.
It would be
'Cause
zero.
you're traveling at the speed of light.
It's
so
zero.
you are clearly traveling through space and time faster than we're experiencing it. So we're
So-
experiencing on what we'd call normal time, and they've got an accelerated time to that. I knew
So would that make sense then if we were to travel in space at the speed of light and it was instantaneous, Dottie? Would all our friends back on Earth would that be 100 years later when we come back?
It would be 100 years later, just like in that movie Interstellar.
Yeah.
I was about to say Inception. I was like, oh, same director.
Almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the one where the craft comes down to Earth, and I forget the actress. It's a redheaded actress, and the aliens. Their time is circled. Arrival. Holy cow!
Oh,
that
I love that
movie was
movie.
insane. Like
That was
the
a good
theories that they were throwing down on that, and then at the end of the movie, when you realize how she knows everything and how the time is working, I was like, "What a lonely existence for that woman to be the only one who understands how it works."
Was that the one with that capsule in the middle of the Earth? And
Yeah.
they were, that was.
Yeah.
I love that movie. I watched it. That's
It
one
was
we've
a sad
seen.
movie, really, if you think about it.
Well, it was sad as hell. I mean, it was great until the end of the movie. Then it was sad at the toward. Well, because kind of got sad, but it was a good movie. I watched it twice, by the way.
Can I tell you the opposite of that movie that I thought?
Yeah,
65. Do you remember that movie with Adam Driver?
60, like 65 million years.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that was a great movie.
No,
Yes.
what? No,
Never heard of it.
I felt like I lost IQ points after watching that
Oh,
movie.
it's entertaining.
That movie made me dumber. Okay, so Arrival's a great premise, sci-fi premise, right?
Arrival is
65 is the opposite of that. Let me
Arrival
tell
is
you.
a thinking person's movie, whereas
Yeah.
65 is
That movie
straight up
was so
entertainment.
dumb. It was so dumb. Okay.
But they're not
So-
trying to like be rational. They're just
Okay.
entertaining you.
So you see Adam Driver there coming out of a spaceship, and he's in a land of dinosaurs, and you're like, what's up with that? I want to know what's going on. So I put it on Amazon Prime. I go to watch it. Here's the actual premise. So it's Earth 65 million years ago. Adam Driver arrives. I think it's a time travel movie. It ain't no time travel movie. No. He's an alien race who just so happens to look like humans. Kind of like Kryptonians from Superman. They just happen to look like humans. He just happens to land there for a rescue mission. They all happen to speak American English because coincidentally, their language... He's an alien who happens to look their whole species is just like regular humans with like regular like families and stuff. And he lands in like 65 million years ago on a rescue mission in a completely different... Like, you got to really intentionally go out of your way to go there.
And if you were like speaking some dialect and you had to
That
read-
movie made me feel dumber.
Well,
And
you
then,
know what?
And then he manages to arrive at the exact same, like 2 days prior to the asteroid landing that killed all the dinosaurs. What are the odds of that? What
Okay,
great
so
timing.
Here's a movie that would have absolutely had your head explode. The one where the moon bounces into the Earth's atmosphere and then just like it comes down and like barely kisses the surface of the Earth and then bounces back up.
That would be so bad for the Earth.
No shit.
Yeah. That would be so bad for the Earth if that happened.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Before the moon even got anywhere near our atmosphere.
People would be getting sucked up in... Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you, Donnie, about feeling dumb. You're way smarter than I am when it comes to all this physics and time travel. Hands down.
I watch a lot of science documentaries because I'm single.
Yeah,
so
well, here's the thing.
I have a lot of time on my hands.
I'm I'm gonna pull out my dumb card here because what was that movie with Matthew McConaughey? Interstellar. You're talking
Interstellar.
about earlier?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna admit to everybody right now, I do love that movie, but I gotta tell you what, I had to watch it by the 10th time I watched it. And I only rewatched it for this. For the life of me, I could not understand any of it for like the first 5 times. Then I finally got it. And maybe today I still don't get it. That was the only movie I've watched I was confused. And I don't know why.
Well, if you don't get the part where he flies into the black hole, don't worry. That part doesn't make any sense at all.
He flies into a black hole.
Okay.
At the end of Interstellar, he flies into
I never saw
a
the
black
movie.
hole, and he winds up in his daughter's like bedroom, like 30 years ago.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
I'm like, that part doesn't make sense at
It
all.
doesn't. That's not
Yeah.
what like wormholes are doing. You're
Yeah.
not traveling you back in time.
Yeah.
Why'd you mute yourself, Donnie? Why'd you mute yourself?
Because I had to burp.
Well, thank you for being a gentleman about it.
Yeah. Hey, Chris. Chris is from Haunted Locations. Pops in and say hi.
Hey.
Okay, so I just had to make that point. I'm going to go back now, and I'm going to go back to enjoying my evening and watching you guys.
Yeah,
on
we're
my
getting
entertainment
ready.
screen.
We're getting ready to wrap it up here, Donnie. It's always a pleasure, and especially when we talk a little UFO and time and space. You are the resident expert on it.
I wouldn't say I'm an
Of course,
expert.
I don't use. I just say that,
Yeah.
but no one's an expert.
You're the resident smarty pants.
Yeah.
And don't forget, Donnie is our special guest
Mhm.
at the
Oh,
at
yeah?
the conference.
I am a special guest.
Donnie, you got to watch the beginning of the show because I was with
Yeah.
a bunch of beautiful Asian women earlier.
Oh, you were? Oh,
Yeah,
man.
you gotta watch it. I'm
Why
not
you
gonna give you.
gonna be holding out on me like that?
You got to watch the beginning of the show.
I think Donnie just likes beautiful women. They don't necessarily have to be Asian.
Well, no,
By the way-
these women were Asian, is what I'm saying. But yes, I'm with Donnie. I'm a fan of all women.
By the way, for the people who are curious and wondering why I'm a special guest and everyone else is just kind of like on the creators list or whatever, one day I angrily confronted Jason McLean because he designed the flyers, and that I was very angry that he put me at the very bottom of the list. And I was like, "Oh, I'm the bottom."
Yeah.
Okay.
You are today.
So and Jason was like, "Okay, fine. You wanna be special? I'll make you a special guest." I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I want to be
Okay,
special."
so Donnie Cho, put it into this perspective. If you were a pimp, right?
Mhm.
The bottom bish is the top performing. She's like the apex girl. So being the bottom guy, maybe
Yeah.
that depends on your perspective, dude.
Donnie, I threw it off the bottom on that list. So I was like, yeah, I guess.
I was tired of being on the bottom, guys. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I was
Look at the
sick of it.
Cryptid podcast scoring some brownie points. You go, man.
Yeah, I love.
Oh, and you know the
good old
Bonson
Dano.
dudes are
That's
in here.
Dano.
Since they're in the chat, I think everybody in chat should wish Brandy a happy birthday because
Yes, happy birthday.
Central Time Zone, it's still her birthday. So
Yeah.
We've got 3 birthdays this month. Actually, we got Brandy, we got Anita, and we got Danielle's sister.
Very nice.
okay.
Yeah.
I don't know Danielle's sister,
Yeah.
but happy
I do.
birthday to her.
Happy birthday to all birthday. Anybody in the chat room or listening later, happy June birthday to you.
Ooh.
In
I'm gonna
fact,
start
June,
singing happy
Mhm.
birthday once a month on my show so we can cover everybody's birthdays.
Should I just make them a song? I'll make them a song.
Just
I
make
was
them
thinking about making Brandy a birthday song.
You should. I think
Yeah.
you'd appreciate
Yeah.
that.
yeah. well,
Make sure
yeah.
you insert yourself in there as much as possible while you're singing it.
Yeah.
Or you're having AI generate it. Like happy birthday from Donnie Cho to Brandy because Donnie Cho wants to wish Brandy a happy birthday from Donnie Cho.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Krista says Brandy says thank you because she's hanging out with Krista tonight, so she must hear the show.
Yeah, she's
Brandy, happy birthday, Brandy. I'm gonna stop there. But yeah,
BMR will. Yeah. He'll
Yeah.
sing. it.
Last year for Brandy's birthday, me and her were sharing a fishbowl margarita.
Ooh,
Ooh, well,
that sounds
very,
yummy.
very nice.
A strawberry margarita. Thing
Well,
was
yeah, it's got to be girly.
Yeah, of course. Well, I like it most any margarita. Most usually,
Most.
as long as it has the good tequila.
It's hard to mess up a margarita, but trust me, people can do it.
Oh, they can.
Yeah,
They can make it terribly. They can make it terribly.
I've had them taste like water. Ugh.
Oh no,
Water.
that's no good at all. I'd rather have
Water
Schmuck.
down. And I don't
Water.
like margaritas on the rocks. Either. I like frozen.
Chris, that's the only way Chris drinks them.
Oh man, I drink them on the rocks a lot.
No, I don't like them on the rocks.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I like slushy margaritas.
No, I drink the. Don't get me wrong. In the summertime, a slushy margarita down where I go in down Mexican Village here. Yeah, they're beautiful. But I
Yeah,
will
I take them where
one
I
on
can
the
get
rock.
them. I've never had a margarita in my hand. Been angry at the fact that I had a margarita in my
I've
hand.
never been. I've never been mad at a margarita.
Yeah.
I
Right.
must admit to.
I have the next day.
Hmm.
Mm.
I don't know. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
Samuel-
I mean, Yeah, there's mango margaritas at this place in town that I can just.
Well,
like,
you never just drink a
like-
margarita. Every night you go out to drink a margarita, you're drinking something else. So the next day you're going to be like, you can blame it on the other
Yeah.
stuff. I blame you, Jägermeister. You're the one who ruined my night.
Okay, so if you progress from a margarita to Jaeger,
Yeah.
that's your own fault.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't do that. I must say that most drinks don't make me sick. Not anymore. My constitution is pretty much used to everything.
For the most just learned to not mix my alcohol like that unless I'm looking to get sick.
You know what I'm not going to ever do? I'm not going to drink wine and beer together.
Yeah.
Terrible.
No, that's not appealing at all.
That's like,
yeah.
Terrible. If you're going to start on wine, you stay on wine, period. I'm not a wine drinker, but I've experienced wine, and no. You got to drink that bottle and
pick your poison and stay with it. You know, if you want mixed drinks, stick with the mixed drinks. If you want
shots, good. Beer and tequila shots, good. Even if you do margaritas, you can switch back to Mexican beer. I do that quite often.
Yeah,
well,
I'll stick to my whiskey on the rocks. I do well.
Yes, he does. I still have that bottle over there, Tex whiskey.
Well, actually, a lot of times when I have whiskey, I also then we'll move on to beer and.
I can drink whiskey. Yeah. I don't really drink whiskey anymore.
I can do beer and whiskey in the same night. I can't do wine and beer the same night. No, that's not happening.
Yeah, it's not a good combo.
Yeah. What's the saying? Whiskey and beer, never fear.
Never fear.
Yeah.
And
beer and liquor never been sicker.
Right.
See, well, me, I can do that. I can do beer and liquor. I want to thank Sean, T-Bone, Scott, and Joe for your awesome super chats and support and love. Thanks to everybody for coming on in tonight. Give me a like on the way out. That's awesome. Thanks for your support there. Don't forget to subscribe to Texas Front Porch. Donnie Cho says stuff. Monica Rollins, our Paranormal World, Bigfoot Michiganrob, Bonzo's Paranormal Podcast, Paranormal Paul, Daniel Diva, and Truth or Tinfoil. That would be sweet if you did that. And so today is what? Yes, boy, it's Sunday for me. It's Sunday, you guys, starting another week. Another week right around.
June's already almost over, man. I was like,
I cannot believe June is over. It just got here. Now it's gone already. Johnny.
Yeah.
This is the fastest month of the year right here. This month, June.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I would just like to speed through July and August as well, because those are the most horrendous months here in Texas.
Yeah. I'm when Michigan, June and July are fabulous. When August 15th hits, I'm summered out because it's too hot, it's too humid. I'm getting ready for football. But the problem is June rained every day. And June was not a summer month at all for me. It was disgusting. Ace is still Saturday for you. Well, good for you, buddy. I'm glad it is. It's Sunday morning here. But yeah, thanks to everybody once again. And I guess that's all I got. Unless anybody's got some, man.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
I'm good too. Donnie, you good?
I'm good.
Donnie, thanks for popping in with your awesome insight as always.
Throwing down the
I like when Donnie does that. When I do, every time I've noticed this, Donnie, anytime I do something space related and dimensional, you make an appearance. And you know what? I kind of like that. So thank you.
Pops up like a gremlin on a wing.
Yeah, he's like,
I'm always there listening. I'm always there listening.
I know you're always listening, man. You're always listening. I do appreciate you. I appreciate all you guys for coming in. And Tex, always appreciate you. And guess what? Oh, everybody listening, there's still 70 in here. Tex is still my co-host on Brunch with Bigfoot Michiganrob, but Tex has got dumb hours. He might not always make it. He might be tired. So I have another co-host, which will be joining me starting next week. The lovely Monica Rollins will be with me. Yay! 1:00 Eastern Standard Time.
Daytime podcasting. Woo!
It's Texas little buffering girl for him in case he just don't want to come on. And I get it, Tex, because as much as I love you, when you're tired, brother.
I'm just the co-host wingman.
And I would co-host with you for that.
Yeah,
I totally would co-host with you, Rob, for that show. But unfortunately,
you work during daytime.
Unfortunately, the world of car insurance needs me too bad.
Well,
Speaking
you're
of
the
car
superhero
insurance,
we all need.
I am needed.
speaking of car insurance, Donnie,
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to you off air sometime. Not today.
Oh yeah, I'm a car insurance expert. That's the one thing I actually am an expert of. Yeah.
I want black market insurance. But with that being said,
What?
you heard me.
I heard you.
See ya.
All right.
Oh God, I hit the wrong button.
Of
Come
course
on,
not.
Monica.
Why would you not?
I gotta train you. Monica, I gotta give you the control.
This is the future. Evolution.
The Crossing Realms Conference launches September 19th and 20th and will dock in Richmond, Missouri. This is already being called the event of the year, folks, with an unprecedented list of speakers and special guests, 2 days of cryptids, UFOs, and paranormal presentations, along with a celebrity-filled ghost hunt, meet and greet, gallery reading, vendors, and a film screening. This promises to be both educational and fun. Go to eventbrite.com to secure your tickets and vendor slots before they are all abducted. They're going fast.